Tonight, I have the pleasure to introduce to you the class of 2005 Valedictorian. Our Valedictorian has been a 4-year participant in volleyball, tennis, and cheerleading. She has also been a member of Spanish Club, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, National Honor Society, and is our senior class secretary. She has been awarded a Dean's Merit Scholarship to Purdue University and plans to major in apparel design and technology. On top of all this, she has also been one of my best friends for the past 13 years. I now give to you the class of 2005 Valedictorian, Ms. Morgan McDonald.
Good evening. One of my goals has always been to speak at my high school graduation. I've worked very hard to get to where I am today. It was not easy to accomplish this goal of mine, but it has been even more difficult to decide just what I wanted to speak about tonight. My first thought was to talk about my family and friends and all the memories I've made these past 12 years of school. Starting with elementary, the first 2 memories that came to my mind were 2 particular slumber parties. One was at Nicole Henn's house with a little game of truth or dare. The other was at Chaston Minnick's when our idea of fun was beating each other with shoeboxes. My junior high memories mainly dealt with cheerleading. From the sleepovers at Miss Butt's house to the trip to Seeger in a van with no seats and no breaks. The main high school memory that stuck out in my mind was a dreadful, rainy Bozo field trip. Mr. Welchen still reminds me how miserable I looked that day. Or even just a few weeks ago when Miss Cashmere decided to go bowling with her lunchbox, first hitting the ceiling and then hitting myself. All of the memories are entertaining, but I eventually decided, however, that I wanted to speak tonight about a topic that would benefit my classmates the most. This topic is the importance of first impressions. We judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing, while others judge us by what we have already done. These are the wise words of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He was explaining how grave an impact first impressions really leave on people. A first impression is the initial mark or imprint left on a person's mind. It can be made simply with a smile, a remark, or even just the use of eye contact. A first impression can determine how you may be treated by friends, teachers, or your employees. A few years ago, I attended a workshop that talked mainly about first impressions. This class was run by actor Michael Buster. He told me that first impressions are made within the first 10 seconds of meeting someone. This goes to show how important first impressions truly are. It establishes how you are viewed by the people around you. Especially in a small community like ours, first impressions are very vital to the way we will be treated. The way someone first observes you is the way they will most likely think of you. We tend to think of people as Megan DeSutter's sister, or even Patty Burton's daughter. It's hard to erase those names for ourselves. Trust me, I know from experience. I am still known to many people as Ross's sister, even though he graduated from this school 4 years ago. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I like the attention, especially when it comes to some of his friends. But the times I don't want to be known as Ross's sister, it takes hard work and dedication to change a person's outlook. This may be hard to believe, but I didn't even like my best friend Sarah Allen when we were in preschool. My mother always had to force me to play with her. I am not sure why, but for some reason Sarah must have not given me a very good first impression. It took me about 1 whole year to realize that Sarah wasn't so bad after all. We joke about it now, but if I hadn't changed my opinion on Sarah, I wouldn't have her as my friend today. The next story I'm about to tell you shows the true importance of a good and lasting impression. A rural high school was getting a new varsity basketball coach. He was new to the area, so he asked local coaches and other school staff about his future players. The players came and worked hard their first official practice week. At the end of the first week, the new coach talked to each player individually. To one particular athlete, he said, "It's hard not to like you. I think I'll keep you on the team." This player went on to finish a wonderful basketball career and finished his season by scoring 30 points on senior night. He also managed to make 7 3-point shots, making the school record. This player may not have been given the opportunity to play on the team if it wasn't for the good first impression he left on the new coach. This player was my brother Ross. I have learned from his example and have tried to make all my first impressions remain positive. When I walk onto a tennis court, I strive to make a good and lasting impression to the fans and the opposing team members. Win or lose, I want my opponent to remember me by my positive attitude and also my good sportsmanship. Just this past Tuesday, the Lady Mustang tennis team played in their first round of regional. After my match, the West Lafayette tennis coach told me how enjoyable I had been to watch watched the past 4 years. He said from the first time he had seen me play, I had left a lasting impression on him. Even though I had just lost the match to end my tennis career, that single moment made it all worthwhile. It felt so good knowing that my actions and my character had really paid off. So now I challenge you, my fellow 2005 classmates, to go out into the world making great first impressions. We no longer have to stay in this community where we are judged before we are even given a chance. We now have the opportunity to make a name for ourselves, to be known as individuals, not as someone's relative. Now is our chance to change our life for our future. And the way to start is by leaving everyone with a great first impression of who we are and who we want to become. Whether you're planning to continue your education or you're going straight into the workforce, by giving a great first impression, we will be given endless opportunities to succeed and become the individual we have always dreamed of. Go now and look forward to a great future, a future that is filled with meeting new people and giving them a strong impression that you are a confident person with a promising future. Each and every one of you has the ability to succeed in life. So my advice to my fellow classmates is to make sure your first impression as a Fountain Central graduate is a positive, lasting impression.
Well, I guess Melissa kind of blew my intro away, so just like But I'm honored to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2005, Ms. Katie Burke.
Well, as I was contemplating on how to approach my speech tonight, I knew that I wanted to keep it relatively short. The first thing that I wanted to do tonight is to give thanks to all the people who have helped me to get to this point in my life. First and foremost, I thank God for my friends, my family, and the amazing opportunities He has presented to me. My parents for their continued love and support, and for never missing one of my sporting events. To Roxanne, no matter how much I may deny it, I'm going to miss you next year. I have many teachers and coaches who have made my elementary and high school career more enjoyable. From Mrs. Peck in the 5th grade to Mr. Welchins during the past 4 years. Each one has not only become my teacher, but my mentor and my friend. To my coaches, who have all pushed me to my greatest potential, but especially to my tennis coaches, Mr. Kite and Mr. Webb. The past 4 seasons would not have been the same without you. From Mr. Kite's great impersonations and blunt honesty, especially when he told me I was a slow runner, to Mr. Webb's motivation that gave me the desire to never give up. I have 2 words: thank you. And finally, to my classmates, for all of the memories that we have shared during the past 12 years. I know that each one of you will be successful. But what is success? The Webster's Dictionary defines it as a favorable or desired outcome, or the gaining of wealth and fame. Today's society bases success on the amount of money a person makes, the number of Ferraris in their driveway, or the number of times your picture has appeared in the news. However, a person does not have to be successful by society's standards to be truly successful. I believe that success has been reached when you are genuinely happy with who you have become and you have friends and family who love you and support you. I think John Wooden sums it up nicely when he says, "Success is a peace of mind that is a direct result of self-satisfaction and knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of being." During the Lilly interview during the Lilly Scholarship, I was asked to finish this sentence: "I will be successful when." So tonight, I would like to share with you what success means to some of the members of the class of 2005. I asked them to finish the same sentence that I was given. From Melissa Callahan: "I will be successful when I am an elementary teacher and when I have given my child everything she deserves." From Jared Gooding: "I will be successful when I graduate from ISU, obtain a job flying for FedEx, and have a family with a close relationship to God." From Crystal Gross: "I will be successful when I finish college, start my career as an LPN, then marry my Marine, Kenneth Garrison." From Jordan Harrison: "I will be successful when I am proud of what I have accomplished, I am happy with my life, and I have a family who lives in a beautiful home. From Ashley Finners, sorry, Mr. Webb, but I will be successful when my career does not involve me doing math skills. Many of us will go our separate ways after tonight, but whether you're going to college, the workforce, a military branch, the ministry, or will soon become a mother, each one of us will find our own success in the path that we choose. I'd like to leave you with one thought from Herman Cain, an accomplished speaker and writer. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? When I first spoke with Mr. Adams about addressing you, he said 5 minutes, Wanda, that's all we need. And all I can say is I really tried, but I can't say that we have 5 minutes. On the first day of school this year, I forced my students to watch, yes, a video of my summer vacation. I had realized that whitewater rafting had a lot of similarities to getting through your senior year. When the raft in front of mine disappeared completely and then was propelled out of that Class 5 rapid, I listened ever so intently to my guide's instructions. When he said dig in, I did. When he said coast, I did. By the time he discussed lifelines, I had already given myself a black eye from my own paddle. And I had become a serious student of whitewater rafting. I wanted to be in the boat at the end of the ride. So I told my students the first day of school we were starting with that goal in mind. If I threw them a lifeline, better known as a call to home, they had better grab a hold. Finally, I put my hand out and I said, do you know what I have in this hand? And after a few chuckles, I said, your diploma. This is a required class, so dig in. Luckily, these are the ones before us who, no matter how desperate the journey became, are here at the end. In my class, when some math genius would ask, how much is this assignment worth? I would point to the hand. Eventually, they did pointing themselves, and thus the hand became our encouragement. I would like this class to leave knowing 5 of life's most important lessons. The reason I believe I stand here today is a lesson that I learned from Mrs. Arlene Spencer. Mrs. Spencer told me as a sophomore that I had quite a writing talent. What college are you planning to attend, she asked, and I replied, oh, not me. I'm going to get married and have 12 kids. She sent me immediately to guidance to make sure that I was taking the right courses to go to college. And she hounded me about this all the way to my graduation. In the end, I was the first person in my entire family to ever attend college. Mrs. Spencer taught me a simple concept about teaching. Every student is important. Some of us, counting myself, just take a little more reminding about our possibilities. I remind myself daily as a teacher, and sometimes it even has to be hourly, that every child sitting in my class is somebody's precious baby. The teacher-student relationship is a powerful one. The members of the class of 2005 need only to look to their first teachers to understand just how powerful their first teachers were and are their parents. I attempt to treat students the way I would treat one of my own. And if I'm successful in that endeavor, I will be an acceptable teacher to myself. That is lesson 1 on our hand of encouragement. The one person you must wake up to every day is yourself. I am by far not the same teacher I was when I began teaching. The phrase, "what goes around comes around," is especially true when dealing out kindness, respect, and friendship. We do not live independently of others. Many of my early students sitting here this evening, I count as my friends, and I'm now teaching their children. Some of my past students, likewise, have coached and taught my own kids. Some are counted in our local police forces and volunteer fire departments, and many are serving our country in the armed services. The amount of times that my past students, have assisted my own family is innumerable. Lesson 2, make sure the you that you send out is the one that you want coming back to you. Lesson 3, aren't you guys glad that's a short getting to lesson 3? As odd as it may sound, learn to just say yes to the good things. In this just say no era, it would be easy to forget to just say yes to living. Life is not simply existence. It's not winning or getting to the goal first. It is meant to be an unpredictable journey. When the class of 2005 began this journey, I doubt highly that any of them, as 5-year-olds, would have said, "I want to spend the next 13 years of my life sitting in cold, hard desks. I want to give up sleeping in. I want to give up my daily Care Bears, Looney Tunes, Rugrats, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." Yet someone much wiser than the accumulated knowledge of a 5-year-old not only enrolled these students, but they actually deposited them on that yellow Twinkie bus and made it seem like a good thing. The beginning of any journey, even school, has its moments. These were shared with me, so I cannot be held responsible. Chasten Minute, kindergarten. Remember, Nicole Hinton was shy and hid in the coat locker, and I went and introduced myself, and then we played kitchen. A.J. Jones, 1st grade, fell off the bus seat and had to get stitches. It was in the 1st grade that Ronald McDonald visited. By 2nd grade, Winston Larkin had some meatball gone wild episode in a school play that I've never quite figured out. Justin Smith in 2nd grade placed dead last in that music countdown. All Matt Westbury said was in 2nd grade cursive. I could never write neatly. Brittany Ritchie, 2nd, played Power Rangers every recess. Dwayne Claudefelder, 2nd grade, read at a grade level higher than mine. Michelle Berge in 3rd grade had lots of friends at school, but she got in trouble for talking too much. Chris Anderson, 3rd grade, earned Pizza Hut bucket coupons. It was in the 3rd grade that Jared Gooding borrowed an eraser from Morgan McDonald. It was also exactly at that moment that Chelsea Haga, Jared's girlfriend, noticed that he had Morgan written on his eraser and broke up with him. Todd Purple in the 4th grade wrote that he lost his girlfriend, Kayla Thompson, to Brad Bardos on a field trip. Chasten Minnick in the 4th grade, and I'm quoting, she wrote, "Me and Tiff shared David as our boyfriend." Several students were worried about Jeff Haas getting in trouble for making noises, only to find out he was choking on a quarter. Starkey's class. Adam Hauser by 5th grade beat everybody in PE dodgeball. As told by many of her loyal classmates, Julia Riley in the 6th grade swallowed a pin cap while pretending to be a vacuum cleaner. Bradley Bardos assured he's traumatized at the time that he was sure that Katie Burton died in the library. She'd simply gotten too hot at recess and passed out right in front of him. By 7th grade, though, the good memories and the bad memories became more complicated. We had first crushes and first kisses, followed by broken hearts, great sports seasons to be celebrated, and those that weren't were quickly forgotten. David Rieberger noted that after 4 years of year-round practices, bus trips, games, and team sleepovers, she had hundreds of priceless memories, and she didn't share them. There were fun classes and challenging classes, driver's license and cars and dates. Initials became very important in high school. ISS, ISTEP, and GQE, better known as a graduation qualifying exam. Finally, the SAT, and then they were off to ISU or IU or PU or SIU or various other letters. Lesson number 4 for the class of 2005, write down your memories. Someday you'll want to remember these times. Melissa DeSutter stated that her best senior year memories include being able to hang out with friends, acting stupid and nobody caring. Being able to live life without a care in the world and knowing that there's always someone's shoulder to lean on. Support comes from many avenues. Family, friends, faith, and most importantly, yourself. Life is not meant to be simple. Remember, it is a journey. Lesson number 5, be careful of what you tell yourself. Dr. Self should come before Dr. Phil. Adopt a life of self-talk. Sure, you'll look stupid at the stop sign, but your stress will diminish. You can borrow some of my own self-talk. I've borrowed it. When things seem unbearable, simply say, this too shall come to pass. When someone's not so nice, what goes around comes around. And finally, my most used phrase, when someone does something completely moronic and aggravating, there's only so much coffee in the coffee pot. Or, now there's a human IQ test. Oprah Winfrey once said, I've come to believe that each of us has a personal calling that's as unique as a fingerprint. This class has 10 students who have diligently worked to be ranked in the top 10 of their graduating class. Valedictorian Katie Burton, Salutatorian Morgan McDonald, Brianna Keeling, Jared Gooding, J.D. Taggart, Sarah Allen, Brandy Richter, Amanda York, Matt Champ, and David Rieberger. The Mustang Club Hall of Fame will add Katie Burton in tennis and volleyball, Morgan McDonald in tennis, Jacob Cruey in football, Andrew Mitchell in track, J.D. Taggart in swimming, and Melissa DeSutter in tennis. The royalty in this class has included A.J. Jones, Chasten Minnick, Dustin Howard, Sarah Allen, Jordan Harrison, and Lauren Palin. But it is not these things that makes this class unique. It is this list. This class has a National American Miss contestant in Morgan McDonald, a Wildlife Stamp winning art student in Maggie Riley, a National Technical Honor Society cosmetology student in Tori Purple, welding vocational students Jordan Harrison and Justin Smith placed at the Midwest Welding Invitational, which is a 4-statewide competition. Jared Gooding, who broke his collarbone at my house, flying on top of my daughter's feet, went on to earn his pilot's license. This class is also noteworthy for having students who have put their beliefs into action. Several in this class have chosen to take up the cause of eliminating drunk driving with both assisting those families who have been victimized and with personally providing local designated driver service. This class has a student who persevered through an entire extra year to get his diploma, and one young man told me he was the first male in his family to actually graduate from high school. When I've watched extreme sports channels, I have often wondered who raises kids to do extreme sports. Now, I must admit that there were times at my own house when one of my kids, or supposedly their friends, crawled through the laundry chute, skateboarded off the garage roof, rolled four-wheelers, purposely blew up science experiments and 4-H rockets, and even propelled a dart through a blowgun right into an electric plug-in. But I could never bring myself to encourage them to pursue their more extreme interests. Yet we have in this audience today some mothers with a lot more internal strength than I have. Those would be the mothers of David Songer and Adam Hauser, who are both already accomplished in drag racing, and Justin Smith and Jordan Harrison, who have been listed as bull riders. I'm sure they're the first bull riders I've ever taught. When Oprah said, "I've come to believe that each of us have a personal calling that's as unique as a fingerprint," she could have been speaking about this class. And we are now going to enter into the time when you can actually extend that hand and place those fingerprints on your diploma.
Thank you, Mrs. Pittman, for those remarks. Thank you. As principal of Fountain Central Junior Senior High School, it is my responsibility to ensure that the requirements of the state of Indiana, the Commission on Education, and the Southeast Fountain School Corporation are met by those students intending to graduate. Superintendent Dr. Gilbert, I hereby certify to you that the members of the Fountain Central High School class of 2005 assembled here tonight have successfully fulfilled all of these requirements. At this time, I present to you as candidates for graduation the class of 2005.